Hey, this is Dr. Kate at the NICE organization, and today I want to talk about segmentation. Now, I've been teaching and consulting about segmentation for 25 years, and it's gone from small audiences to big data to one-to-one communication, but always behind everything has been the strategy of define your audience, create the message for your audience and their characteristics across psychographics, demographics, geodemographics and more. And with the advance of technology and big data, we're able to target the minutiae of these groups and feel like we're communicating one-to-one, but always it has been the tail wagging the dog. And what I mean by that is what's your product, what's your USP, what do you stand for, what are your brand values, and what audience are interested. What does she look like, what does he look like, what does he do for dinner, what does he do in his spare time, what does she do, they have family, what's their disposable income. And it's always been like that, and I'm here to flip that around. That's right, at the NICE organization we take things very seriously and very differently, and we are pivoting because no longer are we defining the audience for our message. We're creating the message. We're having absolute confidence in our social purpose and our mission, because the network in conscious entrepreneurship is all about that. And actually what we're saying is, if you speak it, write it, film it, present it, pictorialize it, they will come. Yes, you're building the field of dreams here, people. And I have an acronym called EHAT. Everybody has a tribe. Most entrepreneurs don't get going. They have a great idea and they don't get going because they don't start. We all know this with entrepreneurship. But the second biggest problem with entrepreneurship is saying, I don't have an audience. But nobody had an audience when they started. And you can sit there and you can mull over and say, there are people like me, or there are people like you. But I'm really diverse. I'm a polymath by inherent nature. And if you don't know what that means, it means that I have a broad range of interests. I work across disciplines, and I'm really good at lots of things in lots of key areas. There's a ton of stuff that I can't do in lots of key areas, but that's not what we're talking about here. I'm focusing on what I can do and where I can do it. Some people are really, really amazing at one thing, far, far better than I can be in that same category, for example, but that's because they're not a polymath. We're each here, part of the NICE organization's mission is for conscious entrepreneurship to be conscious, not only in your provenance and your social purpose and your mission, but to be conscious in your mindset. And my other company, the Self-Mastery Project, will teach you how to do that. I bring in the self-mastery core values and principles into the work here that I do as a business consultant, supporting entrepreneurs with people who've already started their business and want to scale it up, or they want to improve it, or mainly I work in the category of people who haven't even started yet. Underpinning that is my 25-year plus career in education and consultancy, in business and the creative industries, and that's where I sit. And the principles I unite in the background are around human transformation and consciousness and principles to get you going. So one of the biggest barriers is, who's my audience? Where are they? I don't know who they are. And that can stop people dead in their tracks. So the key lesson number one is to start. Get on and get your content up, whether you do it weekly, daily, twice daily, monthly, it doesn't matter, but you have to start. All right? It can be crippling. Oh, my website isn't ready. Oh, my concept isn't ready. But you have your idea. Just get online and talk about it. There's no excuse. Find a social media platform that you love and pick one and do it well. Whether it's Facebook, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook. It's just a space I never connected with. I love Instagram. I love Pinterest. I love Twitter. Haven't used Twitter so much recently, but just get going and get started. I love YouTube. It is more work on YouTube, but with shorts and lives, there are no excuses. That's something for another day, but I just want to talk about content and your audience. And number two is, I don't know who my audience is. I don't know how to connect with them. And the thing is, you could sit there and say, oh, well, my audience are, black males, because they're really interested in my message. But actually, as a polymath, I know that I speak to physically many, many people in my career, and many, many people really resonate with my message, and many, many people don't. And I tell you one thing, I'm not limited by age, by cultural boundaries, by gender, none of it. Possibly because my career has been as a consultant and as an educator. I've worked in London, I've worked across the globe, I've worked regionally, and I seem to, as a human, connect with people on a soul level. And my feedback is that people say, you make me feel good. The people who don't connect with me have the exact opposite experience, should I say. And that's okay, because I live my principles, which is EHAT. Everybody has a tribe. And I lived this as well. I did not know who my audience was. And then I just started posting my truth. And I have 3 handles: Dr. Kate Armstrong, The Nice Organization, and the Self Mastery Project. I also have one I'm working on, Quantum Breathwork Journey, but that's just not ready to breathe life, I pun intended, at this time. So those are my 2 principles I want you to take away. Number 1, start, get on with it. And number 2, don't worry about your audience. Your audience will find you. This is the key message of this pep talk today. EHAT, everybody has a tribe. Start by adding your content, daily, weekly, monthly, newsletters, platforms, emails, whatever works for you. And I do pep talks and accelerator courses on this very thing. And the second thing is, just get the content up there. Your audience will find you, and then you can do the analytics, and then you can say, hey, actually mainly females are listening to me, or mainly males, or mainly non-binary, or maybe queer, or whatever your audience ends up being. You don't know yet. I'm really diverse. I was having a conversation with a human who was born as a male, who now identifies as a female, and she and I were discussing the gender polarities and the gender agenda, and it was getting quite vicious online, and I brought a human perspective to it, and she felt compelled to message back, and then we messaged each other directly, and now we're connected on Instagram, and it really helped pivot my views, and what I said really helped her feel heard and nurtured and understood, and it brought the humanity back into the debate. Now, my political views haven't changed on the agenda, but the conversation we had pivoted and reminded us, which is at the core of my work, which is about humanity and Ubuntu. I am who I am because of everyone. And this message goes across all of my platforms and all of my brands, because it is who I am. And when you turn up to yourself and your message as an authentic version of yourself, you can never go wrong. There are people on there who've called me out, very rarely, because I do speak in the spirit of kindness and humanity. So I haven't actually had any trolls. Apart from once when I was a bit thick about something in geography, and I mentioned something about Europe and I got it completely wrong, and the person was quite rude to me, but actually it's okay, because they were right and I was wrong. The way in which they delivered themselves wasn't how I would do it. It wasn't very humane, but that's okay. So I'm here just to share that. So I've grown my audience significantly just from speaking, sometimes by posting content, or majority of posting content, but also commenting underline under the comments, authentically showing up for myself and speaking my truth on topics that really resonate with me. And you do the same. Start, and don't worry about your audience. Your audience will find you. And that's the biggest lesson I can give you today. Thank you for listening.